I'm Peta-Gai, and this is the Good People Podcast.
It's a tip of the cap, it's a pat on the back, it's a smile from ear to ear. They're the good people from round here.
Welcome to another episode of the Good People Podcast, brought to you by In Other Good News. My name is Andy, and in this show I get to talk to some fantastic humans. Well, they're good humans, often great humans, but we have to call them good humans because that's the name of the show. Today is no exception. Today I have a incredible person who's got some really interesting things going on in their world, and we want to share it. Peta-Gai Mclaughlin from Iridis. Welcome to the show.
Excellent. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, no, I'm happy to have you here. We've had some great chats and some good laughs, and I really want to bring you onto the show so that we can talk about all the fun stuff and important stuff that you're doing in your world. So to give people a little bit of context, you're a former lawyer. Mm-hmm. You gave up your law career to take on a hair and beauty and I'm describing this wrong. Hair and beauty
makeup empire.
There you go, with Iridis. So firstly, are you crazy? But
yes.
Yeah. And then you've gone on to create a program that is helping women and transitioning women, which we will get to in a minute because that's amazing stuff, and I really want to get to it. But firstly, you're a former lawyer. What made you give up being a lawyer and go to makeup?
I tell you what, I think back to that time, it's like another whole bloody life ago. But giving up, and I was really good at it too. I didn't suck. I reached a really high level, and I'd worked really hard. And 17 years. 17 years as a lawyer, I know. And then, and I was in the second most boring area of law, superannuation. What do you think tops that in terms of the most boring type of law you could do?
Insurance?
Oh, that's so close. Tax, common tax, right? And yeah, look at me. Do I really look like I'm suited to a boring profession? It's clearly that was not my destiny. Look, for me, law was amazing until it wasn't. And it was very much that thing of being, that is my dream. I want to be one of the best superannuation lawyers in Australia. That was, and it was a very small market. So it's 400, 500 back then, superannuation, super lawyers. I got to call myself a super lawyer. Not just any lawyer, super lawyer. Yeah. But, it got to that point where I came up with this other idea, this Iridis Cosmetics. This was the bit where I got to change the world. Yeah. And, I really needed to help people. That was always my driving force in every job that I ever did. I had to help people. And it was great with super because I literally was helping people build their retirement and doing all the legal and compliance stuff to make sure that the super fund ran properly and all of those sorts of things. But I'd have a conversation with someone about their super and, and insurance. There was insurance in it too, Andy. Oh, my God, I'm boring myself.
Tell me more about it.
Oh, it's so sexy. Not. Oh, my God. It was so, I'd sit there and just, towards the end, I just want to stab myself in the eye with a pen. It was another contract. Are you serious? What? So, I'd help people with their super, and I'd talk to them about contributing more, and I'd talk to them about making sure that their insurance was adequate and their investment options and all these sorts of things. And I was running a super fund at that point. It was a $90 million super fund for New Farm in Laverton. And, there was, I don't know, I can't even remember how many members now. That's how boring it was. But, I'd help out all these people with their super, and I'd do all the legal and compliance, and I'd run the super fund.
Yep.
But at the end of the conversations, they'd say to me, okay, well, look, thanks for that. Yeah, I'll increase my contributions and I'll change my insurance. And yeah, okay, thanks for your time. And then they'd leave. Now I finish someone's makeup. They look in the mirror. They might cry a little with happiness, give me this enormous hug, tell me I'm amazing, and leave, and I'm on top of the world. And so, that's why.
You get rewarded more from the makeup than you do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Which is it's funny how, because it's a much more, I guess, personal interaction, I guess, doing someone's makeup than it is doing someone's superannuation.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, you know, I look back on those days and they were great, you know, and I did love being a lawyer and I worked really hard to get there. And, you know, I'd always, you know, I was always looking for the next career step and all of that. But, yeah, makeup just is, oh my God, it's like the best thing ever.
Yeah. And it's, and we'll get to that. But it's very long hours too when you're a lawyer, right?
Definitely.
Like, you have to, I know other lawyers, and you've got to do intense amounts of reading and you're just constantly on, right?
Totally. And I loved the intellectualism of that. Like I loved, it was always changing. It's still always changing. You know, it's a very dynamic, boring area of the law. But, you know, like you were reading. I was reading all the time.
Yep.
And now I actually don't read at all, which is... You know, I think I read too much, maybe.
You've done your reading.
Yeah, I was talking about this the other day. I need to pick up a book again. Like, you know, I feel slightly traumatized by all the legal reading.
Maybe only ease yourself into it.
That's right. Only fun books about makeup.
So tell me about makeup, like, which is because you were a qualified lawyer who made the switch. Were you a qualified beautician?
Oh, I wasn't at the start. I was self-taught, Andy.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, variable results. Let's face it. There's this thing called, you know, natural talent where you're kind of good at something, but you just don't have any of the real, you know, like ins and outs of it. Yeah. And of course I learnt 90s makeup. I was a makeup artist in the 90s at the Body Shop. That was where I got, you know, cut my teeth in beauty. And, you know, it's like that amazing thing of sort of brown eyeshadow and brown lipsticks and brown lip liners. There's a lot of brown in the 90s.
Right.
Do you remember the 90s?
Yeah,
Are you old enough to remember the 90s?
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for that. I am not old enough to remember the 90s.
Maybe not from a makeup perspective.
No, well, but I'm thinking about the metrosexual movement.
Yes.
That must be somewhere there.
Yeah,
Late
that
90s,
would have been,
2000s?
I reckon that was more the 2000s. Yeah, being Metro. That's true. Were you Metro?
No. Wait, is Metro lazy?
No, Metro means you like moisturised.
Yeah, probably not.
No,
okay.
I
wasn't metrosexual.
Jean-Paul Gaultier, you know that. Did you wear that male?
No, I think I do now though. I wear the cologne.
Yeah.
Like I've got one.
Oh, maybe you're a bit Metro now. Who knew?
It was a gift. I didn't.
Oh, okay, you're not Metro. Don't try.
I didn't choose it. Is unkempt metrosexual?
Well, that was a very 90s thing. That was like very grunge.
Yeah, see, then maybe I was.
Maybe you were.
I was grunge. That's what I was. I was grunge.
Well, look, in 1994, I was like 18 and got my first job, retail, working my proper first job.
Yep.
And it was amazing. It was just like the best thing ever. And I loved it.
That was Body Shop.
Body Shop. So people would come in for hand cream
Yep.
and then I'd sell them a lipstick. So I was a Christmas casual, started off as a Christmas casual and literally I'd sell them the hand cream too. But then I'd say, look, sit down, let me pamper you a bit. And everyone got the same lip liner, Spice, and everyone got the same pinky brown lipstick, which was toffee. And so everyone got that same look. And, you know I've grown now because I actually recommend different lipstick colours for people now.
That's how you can tell you've grown.
Exactly. I've gotten better. I loved my time at the Body Shop and it was, you know, being a makeup artist in the 90s, you know, like you were just taught by other makeup artists. There weren't actually qualifications unless you wanted to do like special effects and stuff. But, you know, my thing was always about making people look gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, you know, I didn't want to do the gory stuff.
So, but before you were a lawyer, you were right into your makeup.
I was so into it.
And I think you've brought some show and tell.
I have.
Which I didn't realise we were going to have a show and tell segment. But I'm happy to do it. So can you tell us now for the people who are only listening to this, we have here a couple of books. We've got some books. They look aged.
My mum put this together for me.
Yes.
This does, 1990s display book.
Yep.
A little letter from my mum as to, you know, sort of, and this is well before makeup was like a thing, but it was still a big part of me from a very young age.
Yep.
So she's, you know, sort of written a few things here. It's a bit of a long story, but I love this. This is Peter's Beauty Shop.
Oh, yeah.
So this is back when I let people call me Peter.
Oh, yeah.
And pretty much it says on here facial makeup because I wasn't very good at spelling. So I do assume that that's facial makeup
yep.
as opposed to body makeup. Apparently that's what I was offering in 1986.
Yep.
It's also got hair staked and coloured, which I'm assuming means streaked. But again, not really a hairdresser, but giving it a go.
Yep.
Manicure and nail polish, they're two separate dot points on here, but really it was the same service, which was actually just, painting the nails.
Yep.
Guaranteed 2 hours. Which, of course, means, I've definitely improved since 1986 because I do a face in under an hour now, Andy.
Right.
So I'm like, that's like, 100% improvement.
And is that guaranteed?
Guaranteed.
Yep.
Animal faces. Now, they were great because it was basically like black eyeliner with whiskers and a black nose. And then you could turn yourself into anything. You could be a rabbit, you could be a bear, you could be a cat. Your choice as to which whiskers
you
were going
want to
with.
be.
Totally. And this pretty much sums me up as a person because it's like fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Because, of course, I didn't have any formal qualifications at all as a 10-year-old.
So this is your advert for your beauty shop.
Totally. And then Mum's also put in here my masterpieces.
Here we go.
These are epic little designs that I would do. So this is like stealing my sister's makeup, drawing a face, and everyone had the same hair, which was the 1980s mullet.
Yep.
And I draw the faces badly. Like, I'm not a good drawer at all. I still aren't. Give me a face, I can make that amazing, but give me a bit of paper.
The face has to exist.
It's 3D. I can't do 2D. And then I steal my sister's makeup, and then I would put it on the paper, and then I would sign it. And if you got one of these, like, this was a masterpiece.
Yep.
So that was definitely like a highlight. And then this one's really cute.
This one's bound.
I know, I stapled down the side, rusted staples, no less.
Wow.
But this is really cute because it's got all of like the different colours makeup that I had.
Wow.
So all my eyeshadows.
So for those that are listening, I'm looking at columns of words with coloured strips next to them, which is...
There's great descriptors.
Yeah.
And I had it on the front. It says, a stock book? ?
Oh.
This is a book about my makeup. Like, I was recording and then I'd like create these masterpieces. Look, more masterpieces, I tell you. So hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, you're into it.
You know how they say kids are really close to their life purpose?
Right.
Come in with what they're meant to do.
Oh.
And then so they access that, and so then they play that as a game, and so but that's what they're really meant to do. And then I went and be a lawyer after this.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing, really.
Yeah, you didn't play lawyers. You played shops.
I played makeup.
Obviously, you didn't have any trouble with your makeup shop that you needed a lawyer.
That's right. Thank God.
Yeah, because then God. So I'm surprised, you didn't get scooped up by Dulux or someone, because they need someone to make things like this.
They're colour charts.
Yeah,
yes.
You've made colour charts.
I mean, it's hilarious, really. Quite cute.
Look, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but something I learned reasonably recently was a movement towards colours in makeup because they just did not include people of colour.
Oh, yes, the global colours, absolutely. Yeah, it's a thing. How racist. It's like, white Band-Aids. It's like, why have they not? Yes, right. Isn't that a thing?
White.
They've now, that's the privilege, Andy.
There you go, yeah. Although wouldn't be too concerned. I'd wear a Batman one or something.
Yeah, totally. Oh, my kid gives the superheroes like real run for their money. But yeah, totally. Like it really is a thing about not having the right colours and it is racist. It literally is a racist thing. And one of our manufacturers recently discontinued all of the darker shades of foundation, these deeper tones. And I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. And they manufacture in America. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
So we now have to change our foundations to, extend what's available. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. So look, you can apply foundation and look your best as long as you're no deeper than a European.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Like kind of that Spanish Italian kind of, shade.
That's where it cuts off.
That's where, yeah.
And then you can just come back again and you can.
It's just ridiculous.
You can lighten your tone.
That's right. I mean, I have people, like I had a lady 2 weeks ago who booked me for her headshots with a local photographer and she said to me, I'll bring my own foundation. And I'm like, oh, why do you want to bring your own foundation? Do you know whether that's got flashback, what the ingredients are, whether it will flash back in photos? Because if I'm being booked, I can control the whole process of that.
Yes.
So I know that makeup is going to look incredible on camera when I do it, but I can't guarantee what someone else's foundation is. Like it's a thing. And so I said to her, she said, oh, it's just in case you don't have my shade. It's like, what? Like a professional makeup artist should have every shade. Like that's
so obviously they haven't.
Yeah, totally. She's been burnt before.
Or not.
And well, yes, right. She looked in the mirror and she's like, wow, I match. I'm like, isn't it great?
It's nice to match me. Yeah.
You know, like it's just extraordinary that she even had to ask.
So touching on that, so Iridis.
Yes.
makeup and beauty and hair. And so that's a service that you offer to people all around your area.
Yeah.
And obviously you can do end-to-end photo shoots.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
People can book you for that. So because you've done musicians and
celebrities and TV and all the things.
so like film clips and
absolutely, yeah. I've done heaps of that stuff. And you know what? And it's really cool getting celebrity clients. Like it just gives you that real, like, you know, thing. Like I looked after Sophie Monk and like she was on The Bachelorette even. Like she's hilarious. Very, very lovely girl. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Look, as she is. And they were shooting the llama you know, video with that boy that didn't win, he didn't win.
Don't talk
and
about
it was
it
his like
anymore.
llama farm, and it was amazing. Like all the, hanging around with llamas and doing Sophie Munk's makeup. It was the most surreal experience.
Is it Shannon Knoll?
No, not him. No, he was the
llama
contestant. Like what was his name? Bloody hell! Sorry, can't remember him. Anyway, but yeah, and like Christine Anu. I look after Christine. She's like one of my regulars, and like I was a major fan of hers in the 90s. Like when her Styling Up album came out, and then I get booked, and I was like trying to be really super cool, so I didn't like make it seem like I was a super fan stalker, and I was just trying to play it really cool. And then unfortunately my mouth just ran off and all this stuff came out, and then she's sort of looking at me a bit like okay. And like she was actually like playing Hamer Hall, like she was helping a really uber famous opera singer and being the female, you know, voice in that, and wearing Versace and all this extraordinarily cool stuff. But her and I really, like, even after me appearing like a slight stalker, you know, we became friends. So it's cool actually. I look after her every time she comes to Melbourne. So it's like nearly 10 years now.
All right. So when you do her hair and makeup, do you do that in your studio or do you do it at her island home?
Yeah, exactly. So with celebrities, you go where they go. You're with them. And so unfortunately, I've never been to her island home, but I would really like to. So Christine, if you're listening, but yeah, a lot of the time I do a heap of my stuff at the studio. And so it's all, you know, and at Iridis, we do everything makeup. You know, it's everything from your event hair and makeup through to, you know, a debutante or a formal girl or, you know, like we do a lot of the teaching side of makeup. That's a big part of what Iridis is and how we retail our brand.
Teach people how to do their makeup.
Yes. And I love that. Like it's so amazing. You know, we've got this really finely tuned process on how to do it all and, you know, to bring out the best in women and make them feel confident, because it's quite daunting really learning new things, particularly for the demographic, which is like the sort of over 35s.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, that stuff.
And you've got some great clients. But when you've told me that when you moved from law into makeup, now you did that because you wanted to do something else and have your own business and be working till 3 a.m. on your own business. That's
right, at $2.50 an hour.
Yeah. So do all that, but you said you immediately noticed a few things once you started doing other people's makeup. And I found this really intriguing. What were the things that you started to notice about people in the chair This was a really big, like, it was a pivotal moment for the brand and me personally, but it also was really like a sad thing because when I look at someone, one of the gifts that I have as a makeup artist is to look at what makes them most beautiful. So immediately upon looking at someone, I'm like, right, what makes them the most gorgeous version of themselves and what can I enhance in that on those features to really bring out their beauty? What's going to make them look the most gorgeous? And so, you know, it's like I switch my beauty eye on, you know, and so I'm looking at people and I love that. Like I'm so Pollyanna about people in general. I will look for the good. I'll ignore all the things that, you know, like might be red flags. I just, you know, I want to look for the good in people. I want to be at that high vibe kind of, you know, place as much as I can. And I do that with the faces. And so these women would sit in my chair and the first thing that they would do is tell me all the things that they thought I would have an issue with to do their makeup. So they would instantly be going, I'm so sorry about the size of my eyes, or I'm so sorry I've got these big lips, or, you know, I'm so sorry about my skin. It was always this apology. And, you know, this one day I got 3 women in the one day who all were saying exactly
that. And it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks that this is how women secretly feel about themselves, that this thing of the not good enoughs. We're always comparing ourselves to other people. And I call it like the compare and despair cycle, because it's just, you know, we look in the mirror and we're just seeing all this negativity about ourselves and focus on that. And then that just makes us feel a bit shit about ourselves. And I've always noticed that, and you know, from my own experience, when you feel crap about yourself, you play small and you don't put yourself out there and you let people treat you poorly because you think you're kind of shit. So why shouldn't people be shit? And it really was like a big eye opener, and it really changed how we started pitching Iridis to the world, because I wanted to be that counterbalance to those women that just didn't feel pretty enough or didn't feel good enough or not skinny enough or any of the enoughs that just make women feel like they shouldn't exist. It's like, you know, it's like the invisible mum. You see this a lot in family photos. So the mum just is behind the camera and doesn't want to be in the photos because maybe she's carrying an extra 5 kilos, or, you know, maybe she didn't get time to do her own makeup, or she didn't get her hair washed, or whatever the thing. And there's photos of the kids and the, you know, the partner, the dad, whatever, but she's not in any of the photos because she just doesn't feel good enough to be in the image. And we're too busy, you know, like being a mum is hard, you know, you're juggling a lot of things, but it's the invisible mother syndrome. And I'm like, get in the bloody photos. Like, your kids are going to want to know what you looked like when they were 4.
Yeah.
You know, it's so important to not let the shit in your head affect how you do life.
Yeah, because every day of the week when you interact with other people, they're seeing you.
Totally.
So like just taking a photo is actually a fairly mundane sort of a thing. Like it's just, this is how people see you anyway.
Yeah.
It's really just them, isn't it?
It's them.
How they feel about being in a photo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this constant looking at other people and thinking you're worse off than, you know, you're not as pretty, not as whatever. And these insecurities, these bullshit insecurities that we learn about ourselves somewhere along the line, and then we make it real because we keep perpetuating it.
Yep.
And so that day, I had the 3 women in my chair and I just thought, oh my God, I can see their beauty, but they can't see their own beauty. And this was this moment where I went, right, I am the woman to change this. I am going to teach women to see themselves in a different way. And like that's the magic of what I get to do. Like, it's just next level of literally having women look in the mirror and gasp and go, oh my God, that's amazing. And realize that they can look like that. And it's not that hard. We teach them how to do it. We are makeup made simple for that very reason. Yep. And yeah, giving women an opportunity to see themselves in a different way, present in a different way, and up level. You know, it's that thing of going, I want to present differently in the world, and I want to now portray this version of myself, and I'm going to put boundaries in place about how people are going to treat me. You're not going to treat me like shit because I actually believe in myself a little bit more. And, you know, like, it's just a bit of makeup, but it's what it does that's like, kapow. It is magic.
So you're finding the physical attributes and highlighting and bringing out the best in that regard, and the knock-on effect is the internal beauty, the self-beauty that obviously changes more so than the the facade.
Yes.
But you're basically empowering these people to go and feel better about themselves in life.
Exactly.
We are living in such a space now where you are just pounded with images of beautiful people. Yeah. And you're told, I mean, do you know what's funny at the moment? Can I sledge a brand at the moment?
Sledge.
Am I allowed?
Please, no, go. As long as it's not Iridis, go for it.
It's not Iridis. There's an ad on at the moment for Dove.
Oh,
and they're talking about the impact on girls, youth, and how they see themselves. And so Dove are like, it's like a marketing campaign. They're on the front foot. Yep. And Dove have positioned themselves to say, like, girls shouldn't be thinking such, you know, they're slammed in with social media, so they shouldn't be feeling so bad about themselves. But Dove's slogan forever, and now that I've started this, I can't remember the slogan. But for me, it was the icing on the cake because Dove's slogan basically is about making you feel bad about yourself.
Do you know what? This is actually a thing. And I don't know Dove's slogan off the top of my head.
I'm going to think of it because it's ruined my story now. I can't think of it.
Well, this is actually a bit of a thing, right? Because the industry, the beauty industry, the skincare industry, it makes billions, hundreds of billions of dollars off women about their insecurities.
Making them feel bad about themselves.
It makes them feel bad.
Yep.
And this is why we needed to be the antithesis of this. We needed to be the brand that actually lift you up, make you feel amazing about yourself. You know, pump up those tires.
Yeah.
And you know what? Talk yourself up. Like, none of this tall poppy bullshit. No, if you think you're amazing and awesome, tell the world, you know. Like, I'm all for it. Safe space to do that at Iridis. So, like, you look at Maybelline.
Yep.
Their tagline always was, maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline,
yep.
right? So that was always their tagline. She's wearing makeup in the ads, so clearly it's Maybelline. So clearly the subtlety of that tagline is you're not born with it. You need to wear our makeup so that you look hot, right? Yep. Okay, so that's one, okay? L'Oreal, theirs is because you're worth it, which of course implies that you're not worth it unless you buy L'Oreal, right? It's the subtlety of this crap that are just constantly making women feel not good enough, not pretty enough, not enough as they are. And you know what? Makeup isn't for everyone. Like, you know, it doesn't need to be a thing where you pile on a shit ton of makeup. Like it just is, you just don't need to. Little bit, maybe, or none at all. Also awesome. Yeah. You know, I am of the belief you do whatever it takes to make you feel great about yourself, whatever that is. And if it's patting your dog for 3 hours or, you know, going for a walk or, you know, talking to a little person about Santa Claus, whatever it is, it's the thing that makes you feel good. And for me, makeup makes me feel amazing. You know, it's not about making me prettier. It's about making me more confident to present as this version of Peta-Gai to the world and make change. Like, you know, I want women to be feeling this empowered, amazing, uplifted version of themselves because I see what happens with my clients. It's a bit of makeup. They, you know, their tires are pumped up. Like we tell them what makes them beautiful and all the things that make them amazing. And it's, you know, and I genuinely see this anyway. This is my gift in the world. And then they go and they change their lives. Like, you know, I've had people leave their husbands. I mean, you know, if they need to, they should, you know. But the makeup gives them that strength, that power, that confidence to go, actually, I need to make a change. You know, I've seen promotions happen. I've seen job pay rise increases. I've seen, you know, people suddenly change careers and go, actually, I'm going to pursue that thing that really floats my boat because I'm feeling different in myself.
I don't want to be a lawyer anymore.
Yes.
I want to do makeup.
Totally. Oh my God. Everyone thought I was the biggest nut job. Like, seriously. And like, oh, you went to uni for 5 years and now you're wasting it. It's like, I'm not wasting it. God, all these skills are epic in business. I'm like, I'm using that shiz.
Yeah. I just remembered the Dove tagline.
Oh my God. Brilliant. Great.
For younger looking skin.
See, that makes me want to smack them.
You look old, so use this so you look younger.
Right. That goes in my presentation, Andy.
Yeah.
That is shit.
Yeah.
So, and right, not everyone wants younger looking skin. Some of us are like, actually, we're going to embrace the fact that we, you know, look hot at, say, 47, my age. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I'll use skincare. I'm going to slow down the aging process. But I'm not going to, you know, make myself feel bad that I've got wrinkles on my face because, you know, the wrinkles were all the time I smiled at some of the most amazing things that ever happened in my life. Like, come on, I earned these bloody wrinkles.
Yeah, mine are definitely because I was smiling.
Yeah. You're
always
smiley.
Oh,
I know.
So much smiling.
So much smiling.
Too much smiling. It's not just when you're talking about making people feel good about themselves, there is a particular genre, I will say, of women who you are helping. And this for me is one of the most important things I wanted to talk about today.
Cool, me too.
A chance client for you changed what you offer. Definitely. And I'd love for you to tell us about how that changed everything.
Oh, I love it. So one of the things that Iridis Cosmetics is Latin for rainbow. Iridis is Latin for rainbow.
Yep.
And we chose that name because I created the brand with my wife and we, in a same-sex relationship, it's the gay pride, it's the nod to the rainbow. So, and also, nod to my legal time. Latin is legal language.
Yep.
So
And the colours, right?
and the colours.
Yep.
Yeah, all the colours of the rainbow. So, love the whole, and rainbows are a bit of a personal symbol of mine.
Yep.
So it's always been a thing. And it was just the most perfect name for the brand. And being a rainbow company, and we're very obvious about that, Kelly and I are the founders. We're, on socials about it all. I'm not going to hide away as to who I am. I never have. I'm never going to. Yep. Gets me into a lot of trouble, but it's fine. So with the whole rainbow thing, one of my makeup artist friends referred a trans client to me, a trans woman to me, and she was going to a wedding. She was a bridesmaid in maid of honor in the wedding, and she said, "Oh, look, you can handle it because you were in a same-sex relationship, and Iridis is Latin for rainbow, and you'll be a supportive space for this client. I can't look after this client this day, but you can." So she refers it, total chance meeting. So Belinda is the gorgeous woman's name, and it was the most, I really think, one of the most extraordinary makeovers of my life. And I remember when Belinda messaged me and we spoke, and she said, "Look, I know I sound like a man, but I'm a woman." I'm like, yeah, I get it, totally. She's like, "I don't want drag makeup. I want really pretty makeup for a woman." I'm like, yeah, no, I get that, totally. So I go to her house and, looking after her, and, she hasn't got a wig on and all of this. And, and then she shows me the dress she's wearing, and she's like, "Oh, I'm maid of honor. And this is actually my first outing as a woman publicly."
Pressure.
Right. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And I'd never done trans makeup before. Like, I knew nothing about it, but I knew how to make women beautiful. So that was fine. So we start the whole process, and she looks in the mirror at the end. She's got tears in her eyes. She can't believe that she looks that beautiful. She's so happy with it. She puts her hair on, and then I was like, you know what? I think the wig could kind of do with a little bit of styling. And I had my hair kit in the car. So I just go and do a little bit of styling on her hair. And she just was besides herself. She tipped me $100, and I was already charging her a fair whack for being there. But she tipped me $100 because she felt so incredible. She put this beautiful green dress on, and she looked like a vision. Like, it was literally extraordinary. And I just had this buzz inside me, and I got home and I updated the website straight away saying, "Now offering trans makeup." And then I was thinking about it. I thought, you know what? No one's doing this. Like, this is not a thing that's offered. It's still this shameful hidden thing to teach, trans women how to do their makeup. No makeup artist doing it. This could be my thing. Like, I'm good at this stuff. And I think also just being in a same-sex relationship, it does create, you're part of the rainbow community. There's a bit of safety there. So created this whole thing, and oh my God, our website exploded with hits. And I think because I wrote from the heart on this page, that page has the highest SEO on anything of our whole website, and it gets the most amount of hits because of obviously writing from the heart.
That's incredible.
It was so cool.
So then that made you feel great, and you said, "That's it. I'm offering trans makeup."
That's it.
But you've extended that, so now you're not just doing trans makeup. You've got courses running.
Yeah. So then I realised they'd come to me for the makeover, but really what they were looking for was learning the makeup. And of course, that's what we do, right? We teach makeup at Iridis. So that became this amazing thing where I developed a whole program, got really good at trans makeup, worked out how to build a beautiful face to, feminize it and, de-enhance masculine features and all those sorts of things. Learned all about it, developed this teaching program, and then bang, well, that became a specialization. And I was doing, like at the moment we get something like 3 queries a week from trans and cross-dressing women
That wasn't a pun.
No,
I'm just clearing this up.
Not a pun. Literally on our website, the hits that come through. But yeah, it really is that thing of just saying, we hold a space. It's safe to sit here and be yourself. Yep. And you're celebrated, and you're not even just accepted, like it's a celebration of the feminine. So then I created, during COVID, there was a lot of trans people that were like, well, if I'm going to be locked up, I'm going to dress as my true self because I'm not seeing anyone. Okay. So they called trans COVID babies. So there was just this proliferation of trans people going, shove it up your jumper. I'm going to be trans. And I kind of love that. So we did a lot of online Zoom lessons with trans women because suddenly they were able to be their true selves. And so that sort of developed a new thing. And then every time these trans women would finish their makeup lesson with me, they'd have all these other questions. And so they'd say to me, oh, look, I need to go and get my nails done, but like, what do I ask for? Like, you know, how do I get my nails done? And I realized that all this assumed knowledge that, you know, I have as a cis woman who was born in the right gender, that's what cis means, that you know, just the gender assigned to you at birth is the correct one. So cis woman, cis man. And so as a cis woman, I've got all this assumed knowledge of the feminine, because, you know, I walked around in my mum's high heels and wore her makeup and everyone thought that was really cute. But when a boy did that, they'd be like, get those shoes off. You don't play with your mum's things like that. You don't dress, you don't play with dolls. You don't, you know, all of that shame and guilt that goes with it. And so it became clear to me that all this knowledge that I've just got by being a cis woman in this whole community, this whole society, they don't have that because there's all this shame attached. And so questions like, oh, I want to get a girly perfume. How do I choose that? And for me, I'm like, oh, well, I know I like, you know, light florals and, you know, Chanel No. 5 is my favorite and give me some white flowers and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, like, these women don't have that knowledge. They don't know how to go and pick a perfume for themselves, even down to choosing boob size.
Right.
Because, like, that's one of the best things about being a trans woman. You can pack a rack.
Right. There you go. You
want big boobs? You can get big boobs. Yeah, it's
you
awesome.
Can choose.
You can, and like that's a thing too, because like, you know, you don't want to have them sexualizing, you know, the process, but of course it is a little bit of that too, because they've always, you know, like a lot of them identify as lesbians, and so they've always been attracted to women, but then they sort of put what they are attracted to on themselves, so then they might end up choosing boobs that might be too big for their frame. And so, like, you know, I can guide that process.
Holy moly. So you are like the one-stop shop for for women, transitioning women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get, this is what I found amazing, because there's so many things that I'd never thought of.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And it's then the questions that they'd ask, and I'd be like, oh, that's a good one. And like some of them come to me and they don't even have their female names yet.
Right.
But they want to be experiencing being a woman, and like I got to actually name like a trans woman, which is like she's one of my beautiful friends now, and you know, like it was such an honor.
Choice.
I went with Samantha.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, in the drag world, they're
they're
big names. They're obnoxious names and stuff. But this is like an everyday.
Yes.
This is like naming a child. It's a big decision.
Oh my God. And it took me a really long time to name my kid and the cats. I mean, my God, like that was like trying to come up with 5 different names, like 5 cats. Like, my God, it was like a lot. But yeah, this was a big deal. And then like, because we had to find something, because she was still living in as her male self, was not out. She always thought she was a cross-dresser, and so just really liked dressing up in women's clothes. Then she did that 3 times and went, oh, shit, I'm trans. And, you know, like for a lot of women, it's, you know, this is like this is horrible and hard and difficult and scary and terrifying and tinged with so much guilt and shame, all those negative emotions. I provide that counterbalance so that they're not feeling like that and creating that safe space. But for Sam, you know, she wanted to still live part-time, you know, as Sam. She didn't want to, you know, fully transition yet. She wasn't in a position to. Young 20-something living with her parents, Indian heritage, certainly not celebrated in any way. Trans people in India are absolutely the lowest of the low, you know, of in that caste system, and ridiculed, and, you know, it's a horrible way that they're treated. And so for Sam, you know, having that name, that could be Samuel, or Samantha if she wanted to be in that female or, you know, the masculine. And now, like, it's taken a couple of years. You know, she's identified as trans, gone, yep, that is what I am, started changing, you know, things at uni, you know, having her wardrobe as Samantha, the makeup, we just got her a whole bunch of makeup. Like, it's the most extraordinary thing.
And Samantha feels better about themselves.
Totally. She is loving life.
Yeah.
Like it's next level.
Which kind of brings us to the dark side of, I guess, trans. Growing up in a confusing world and growing up not being able to be yourself.
Yep.
It's pretty alarming statistics around around suicide, isn't there, for trans?
Absolutely. It and they are overrepresented in not getting access to healthcare, not getting support. And I mean, even down to, I made some notes about this because I was like, I want to get this right. There's 82% of trans people have considered suicide.
Yikes.
Like, that is just, that's horrible, right? Then you've got 56% of trans youth have actually attempted suicide.
God.
Now, as a parent, that just scares the shit out of me. That, these kids are feeling like they can't be themselves and that there is no other alternative than to end their own lives. What an absolute incredible waste when what they bring to the world is the light, the diversity, the interest. These trans women that I work with are some of the most extraordinary people I've ever met. Because for them to get to that point about stepping into their feminine and being that true version of themselves, the sacrifices, the accusations of selfishness and how dare you and who do you think you are and, oh my God, you're a freak, all of these horrible things that society puts on them, and family, the amount of times that, people tell me that they don't talk to their family anymore.
Yeah, that's tough.
Just for being their true selves, this is horrible. They were born in the wrong body.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. They are rectifying a mistake. And, those statistics, and I mean, even down to 20% of trans people find barriers to employment. They don't really want to go for jobs in case they get clocked, this feeling of that they might be, thought of as a man when they're a woman, or vice versa, it blows my mind. And so what we really wanted to do was create this space where, we can do what I do best, teach women how to do their own makeup, but really create that safe space where, they're celebrated, they are themselves, they're, able to explore that in a way where there isn't judgment. I hold space, I just make it happen. And then the really cool thing that came out of the last couple of years was that I got to turn my 2-day. So I have this whole Iridis Feminine Immersion Experience for trans women.
Yep.
And that's a 2-day experience. The first day is all makeup. And then the second day is all of the social transitioning stuff. And so that's the things like the wigs, the boobs, the nails, the perfume, all the bits that go into stepping into the feminine and presenting as their true selves. And we cover off psychological stuff too. I mean, look, I'm not a psychologist. I've had a lot of counseling though, so I feel like I could definitely impart some of that. Letting go of all this shit from the past. It's awesome. Oh my God. And so, we talk a little bit about, how to navigate coming out. I did that. I got to also come out. And, you're almost coming out all the time, being in a same-sex relationship. I don't identify as a lesbian, neither does my partner. But, we're always constantly coming out. The moment I say, and this is my wife, Kelly, or my wife, Kelly, blah, 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 I'm instantly having to out myself.
Statement. Yeah,
it's a statement, right?
Yeah.
And so same as for trans people, a lot of the time, they might have a goal to pass as a woman, but not everyone does have that goal. And so, we don't want to assume that that's the goal. But for a lot of people, you're constantly having to out yourself in that space. I have this awesome client who turned into my bestie, Vanessa, and I've now employed her. She's my EA. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's great because I go out with her to lunch or whatever, and there's so many double takes, and I'm used to getting a bit of attention because of my hair, basically.
Right.
People think want to just why has she got all those colors in her hair? So I get a bit of a double take, but oh my God, Vanessa gets double takes, and it's quite extraordinary. And she just doesn't even think about it, just glosses over it, whereas I'm really cognizant of the fact that someone's giving her a double take. But I just say to her, it's because she looks so gorgeous, because she's had this makeup lesson with me, of course.
Yes.
She does a great job of her makeup.
Yeah.
But she's 6'2". She's not really going to be blending in, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of what we want to teach is having that empowerment, that feeling of acceptance. But that 2-day thing, I needed to get access to more women. And so I applied for a grant from the Victorian government during COVID. It was an LGBT grant.
Yep.
And we got it, and it was 50 grand, Andy.
Yeah.
So that enabled me to turn my 2-day into an e-course.
Right.
And that's just at the point that I'm about to launch that in the latter half.
That's coming up.
Yeah, we're about to launch.
In the latter half of 2023, you're
Yes.
launching your e-course.
Yes.
What's the name of the e-course going to be?
So it is the Iridis Feminine Immersion Experience.
Right.
And it's everything that a trans woman needs to know to step into the feminine and feel that beautiful version of themselves, that vision that they've had in their head of who they're really meant to be.
Yeah.
And we just enable them to get there.
And you help them get there.
Yeah.
And so for information on this, they can find you at iridis.com.au.
Yes, the website was also part of that grant and is in the process of getting updated very excitingly. I've got to finish, writing it and everything.
Yeah.
iridis.com.au, and also we have transmakeuplessons.com.au as well. So that's where our trans e-course will live.
Transmakeuplessons.com.au.
Yep.
Very good. And then apart from that, what else is there anything else big happening in your world?
Everything's always big, Andy.
Yep.
Look, it's that whole juggle of mumhood,
Yeah.
running a business, an empire. Like it's a little empire at the moment, but we're building.
Yep.
I also have another course that I do with makeup artists. So how to teach people how to be makeup artists.
Oh, right.
It's another e-course. So,
Yep.
all the pivots that we did during COVID,
Yeah, of
getting
course.
as much stuff online. And so that's a really cool e-course too. So, and I've just expanded that as well. And so an unexpected benefit of this was that like a whole bunch of these incredible makeup artists that are learning from me how to do makeup,
Yep.
then do really good makeup. And then so I'm like, you can be part of my team.
Ah.
So we're actually expanding the Iridis team. Back in 2016, I had 15 in the team, and then, sort of things changed. I wanted to change the business model, and so we sort of stepped away from having the team. But I'm back to having my team again, and it's really cool not being a, like the single point dependency in a business anymore. It's lovely.
Yeah.
So really that, I've got a little boy, Kelly and I have a gorgeous child called Tristan. He is the light of our lives. He's hilarious, very, very funny. And just like great kid. He's awesome. And so he's going to school next year. So, suddenly the whole, one little being out the door.
Yep.
And so, it's a juggle for us with the work-life balance, which I never get right. I'm, always in trouble for working too hard. But, like it's hard when you love what you do and, want to make it amazing.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's good. And also like getting back to personal contact is probably, I think, pretty important for what you do as well, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's sitting in the chair is very different to over Zoom.
Yeah, definitely. And, and I love that about what we do because, there's all this AI stuff. Like I'm like, well, what's that going to do to what I do? There's so much AI out there. You don't really need to know how to do your makeup all that well. You just put a filter on and send it through the AI thing and, listen to me, the AI thing. And, like suddenly you look hot and young and amazing and fabulous and everyone loves you.
Yeah.
Well, no, this fakeness, like, I really want to be the antidote to that. This is all about authenticity and, like the power of makeup.
Yeah. I can't see there being a long-term benefit from being able to add your face to like a muscle man body or a like the men ones that come to me. There's like, here, put your face on here. You're a Trojan warrior. Here, you're a now you hit the gym 9 days a week.
Yeah.
Like I can't see the benefit for someone's person.
Yeah.
In this fake.
Yes.
You can be whatever you want to be. Slap your face on another body. Stuff. I don't think.
I don't see the value in that either because then people meet you and it's like Tinder and catfishing and all the things, that you're not who you say you are.
Yeah, and then you probably feel more disappointed in yourself.
Totally.
Because you're nothing like that as opposed to sort of like your photo.
Yeah. And and I'm all about enhancing what you've got, but it's that thing of every single person has something that makes them beautiful.
Yep.
And it's just about accessing that,
Yep.
showing them, and then having them change how they view themselves. Like, I always say, Iridis is in the business of teaching women to be, to feel more positive about their appearance. And we do that with makeup.
Yep.
But, there's actually science about this as well. Like one of the most extraordinary things is when you do make changes to the external, that it has an effect on your brain chemistry.
Yep.
And, cortisol levels drop, dopamine increases, all these happy hormones flood your body when you look in the mirror and go, wow, I look gorgeous, and then
Anxiety would drop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, when you're in that space, well, that's where the magic happens. That's
Yep.
where you, jump forward and be this best version of yourself.
Yep. Yeah.
Bloody love it, Andy.
Yeah, I do too. And that's partly what this podcast is about as well.
Isn't it?
Just having good conversations about things that just make you feel a bit better. That's how In Other Good News started, make people feel a little bit better about the world.
I love that.
And we have so much trouble getting our good conversations out there because of the dominance of the negative.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I really want to be that counterbalance to the world that just feels shit about themselves. Like why do we want to do that to ourselves? It just makes you feel shit.
Yeah.
And I always teach women, like our glam tutorials. So we run these glam tutorials where the group makeup lessons, and we get like 8 women in the room, and I teach them makeup step by step. And my amazing stock book from when I was 10.
Does everyone get one of these?
Look, I really should start. Now that I've looked at it again, I'm like, there's some gems in here, I tell you. I really should.
That's your course material.
Look, it's a lot better now. So, let's not.
I like this version.
Well, and I talk about this though because it's really my journey of where I got to be the true version of myself. Like not trying to fit a mold that I wasn't. I was okay to be a lawyer, but it wasn't really what I was meant to do. Clearly.
Yep.
So I talk about that at my glam tutorials, and I see this at the glam tutorials where women, they come in, they're a bit shy, they're not really sure, they don't know other people, they might not even know anybody. They're there as themselves, no friends or whatever, and. Then at the 2 hours in, they've warmed up, they've made a friend, they're adding each other on Facebook, they start sharing this vulnerable stuff about how they feel about themselves, and we create that safe space where that exploration can take place. It's like bloody life coaching with like a comedy show and, makeup, and then we feed you and wine, and oh my God, it's like amazing, right?
Yeah.
And these women are changed at the end of it. And I love it. They send me texts and selfies, and they do their makeup, and then they go, tell me what you think, PG. How does this look? Have I got the right color? Have I put it in the right spot? All of that. And I bloody love it. It's like, seriously, I literally get to the end of my day and just go, how do I call this work? How is this work? It is such a joy to be able to live this life. And I'm so lucky that I get to do it. I could have been a boring lawyer.
Yeah. That you kicked that to the curb.
Oh, look, was I ever a really boring lawyer? I mean, I was probably a fun lawyer.
Yeah, you would have been.
Annoying.
You would have been a fun lawyer.
Yeah, look, I got, you know what, Andy, I did get feedback about needing to dial back the personality at times. There's various jobs that
superannuation cannot handle that much personality.
Oh my God, I was always too much, and now I'm like, yeah, I run the show and I'm too much. It's awesome.
Well, Peta-Gai Mclaughlin, thank you so much for coming onto the Good People podcast. I've really enjoyed rehearing about your programs that you're running because I think they're fantastic. Good luck with the Ecourse.
It's very exciting.
Coming up this year. So everyone should make sure they head to iridis.com.au and you can check that out there. And then also the, can you remind me of the trans makeup website?
Yep. So transmakeuplessons.com.au. Nothing's on there at the moment, so don't go there yet. But, and keep an eye on. That's coming. It hasn't launched yet. Yeah. Sure, so that will be all of the e-course. That will be the e-course.
Or by the time you listen to this, it may be there.
It might be. I better get working.
Yeah. This afternoon.
Today.
That's what you have to do.
Love it.
Yeah, giving you a job. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to maybe we'll catch up again in a little while, and we'll hear how it's all going.
Would love to come back. It is always a pleasure to meet people like you doing this sort of good work in the world. Love it.
Well, it's got to be done.
Love
it's got to be done. Thank you so much. This has been another episode of the Good People podcast, brought to you by In Other Good News. Peta-Gai Mclaughlin, thanks much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And we will catch up with you next time. And you can catch us on all of your regular streaming services, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube if you want to watch Peter in all her colourful glory.
Hang on, who?
Oh,
Peter.
Oh,
You
no.
did so
I
well,
got all the
Andy.
way to the end.
Oh my God. No, you're not allowed to call me Peter. Oh my God.
I did it. I can't believe I got all the way to the end.
That's it. I'm not coming back. I'm going to spit the dummy. Here it is.
This
My
is
diva
the now
moment.
ruined episode of the Good People podcast. My name is Andy the Failure.
Do you know what? Look, I give 3 strikes. Okay, so the first one, that is your first strike. Okay, and then like you do have a second. You've got a second, so there's like just don't use it. And then the third, that's when I'm like, okay, that's it. We can't be friends.
I'm hitting stop because I don't want to be going to DEFCON 1 before we can get out of this episode.
We need to stay friends.
So I'm running the outro music. This has been the Good People podcast. My name is Andy and Peta-Gai Mclaughlin. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a tip of the cap, it's a pat on the back, it's a smile from ear to ear. They're the good people from round here. They're the good people from round here. Come on, let me introduce you to a few.